Hi. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Melanie Manke, and I welcome you warmly to the first INIT live report. Today on contactless payments, the new normal. For the next 3 days, so until Friday, my colleagues and INIT experts will present our latest innovations and IT trans show highlights to you here at 12:30. Even though we would prefer to meet you in person at the booth. But this year has been different from the ones before. It has changed the way we act and even the way we like to pay. So quite often, bank cards and smartphones have become the means of choice whenever possible. In stores, but also in public transport. Therefore, INIT offers you a large number of possibilities for implementing contactless payment in your vehicles. My colleague, lead system architect Martin Nylund, is a foremost expert when it comes to ticketing hard and software solutions. So Martin, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. Yeah, good morning, good evening, or good day, depending on where you are watching this, probably in your home office, or maybe even your real office, depending on your company policy. I'm here at the INIT virtual booth in city of Karlsruhe. Karlsruhe is of course, the city where we would have this trade fair also physically, but this year, because of the global crisis, it's a bit different. So we will have all this virtually, and I'm sure that we will also, even though I would also like to speak in front of a real audience, I'm sure that we will learn all something from this experience. So I'm Martin Nylund. I'm a systems architect for INIT, and I'm specialized on contactless payments, ticketing, and payments generally in context of public transport. And that's also the topic now for the next 15 minutes. Now, contactless payments have been a very much discussed topic already in the past. London was the first city who implemented this, and people and transit agencies have noticed that it's a very convenient and fast way to provide payments for the customers. And in many regions, all of the customers already have these contactless cards in their pockets. It hasn't been till now in all of the regions. For example, in Germany, the credit card industry and banks started to push it only, in the past couple of years. But now, even here in Germany, all of the people have these contactless cards, and it luckily started this movement already before the COVID crisis. So people are now conveniently able to pay their groceries and whatever in the local stores without having to giving pin numbers on pin pads or writing signatures with the same pen with 100 other customers. The transit environment is something very specific. However, it's not the normal retail environment. In transit, we have use cases like the payment terminal is moving in the city, and you can never guarantee whether it's in a coverage of a mobile network. So you cannot really guarantee that it has a connection to the payment services and so on. So you need to handle the offline cases. And you also have the use case that there might be 10 people buying the same product within 10 seconds, and you need to serve them all. Now, this is something that you don't find in normal retail environment. It's something very specific for transit. And these use cases require specifications from the credit card industry, from the payment industry, from the banks, and everybody need to agree on rules, how the payments are accepted, and who will take the liability on some marginal cases if we show, for example, green light in the vehicle without actually knowing if the person has money on their account. So these are all things where we need help from the big players, Visa, MasterCard, also the local debit card issuers. And I would say that Visa and MasterCard have been here, the forerunners. They have already brought the specifications, clear rules for the transit agencies to implement the system. They also give companies like INIT clear rules for certification so that we can certify our devices to bring the user experience to the passengers what they deserve in public transport. Now, there are many other kinds of use cases as well, but today I'm going to concentrate on two of them, which I think are the most tricky ones. That's the payments in the vehicles. Like I mentioned, vehicles move, and on busy stops there's a high throughput of people boarding in the vehicle, so it covers both of the very tricky cases. And I wanted to demonstrate these two cases now here with two devices we have here. One is Event PC 3, which is a combined onboard computer, driver terminal, and also contactless payment terminal, and it also has a display here for the customer. So you don't see it now here in the picture, but the customer comes from this direction, and they will see prompted here whether they should be given the card or it will be showing the price. And this is the first use case. The customer boards into the vehicle. They communicate with the driver what they want to have, where they want to drive, if they want a single ticket. They communicate with the driver what kind of payment method they want to use, whether it's cash or the credit or debit card. And after that, they will be issued a paper ticket, and they can use that paper ticket as a ticket for transfers as well. And in this very traditional use case, we all know this from normal retail environment as well. I mean, everybody, if you go buy a chocolate bar, it goes exactly according to the same procedure. So I'm going to take my credit card, step into the vehicle here. I already prepared to pay with the credit card, and I say to the driver that please give me a single ticket. I want to go to the city center. So the driver here selects the single ticket, and I already communicated that I want to pay with the credit cards. So the driver selects here the credit card payment. The display here, the customer display, is prompting me show me the card, or please present card here. The reader is here with the contactless payment logo and Visa and MasterCard and the payment brand. So it's immediately obvious for me where I should be showing the card when I see this, and I also see the price here presented. So now I'm going to present my card. It will make an EMV transaction within the 500 millisecond and make a beep after that. And that beep means that I can take my card away from the field, but it doesn't yet mean that I actually made the payment in this scheme. Oh, I think this credit card is already full of offline transactions, so I need to try another one. That's another interesting feature of the credit card. So okay, now it worked. I tried my other card yesterday, and the cards have internal counters. So if you're passed over your counter, it's the card that declines the transaction. It's saying that, hey, okay, now you have made too many like offline payments, and it declines it. So it might happen. Now I received a ticket for the drive, and I can use this for transfers. And in order to have this work, of course, it's probably obvious for many of you already that the terminal needs to be online to make the communication with the bank, because when I presented the card here, it makes the transaction the card reading within 500 milliseconds, but it's not through yet. It sends the request to the payment service provider. And from there, it might be that it sends to the other side of the world. If I'm a tourist from Australia, it really asks from the issuing bank on the other side of the world whether this person has money on their bank account. And it takes some time. So it's the same user experience that you know from normal retail. If I go here in Germany and buy groceries and tap my card, it will take like 5 seconds so that it does the online communication. And it also requires that the online communication is there. Now, there are rules or exceptions to this online communication that you can then discuss with your payment service provider. For example, if you would like to make so-called deferred authorization and take liability in certain cases that when the vehicle is not in online, and you can discuss that kind of cases, but it's obvious that it cannot be like the rule. The rule should be that these devices would need to be online a lot to cover this traditional sales use case. The local debit card brands, of course, they have their own rules again. There are different set of rules for MasterCard, Visa, Union Pay, Amex, and then there are the local players like Girocard, Contactless here in Germany, and Interac in Canada and EFTPOS in Australia. They of course want to be players in this contactless payment scheme, but everybody needs to issue their own set of rules how to accept the payments in these rather transit specific situations. Now that's the use case one, buying a card with the credit card or debit card with communicating with the driver. You could probably see already that it's something that takes maybe 20 seconds time. So it's not the mass transit use case. The mass transit use case would be that there would be 10 customers and they all need to be served within 10 seconds. And that's the use case number 2, tap and go. And in the tap and go use case, we normally have a validator. The validator could be also this reader here. So you could use both devices for this tap and go use case, but I'm going to demonstrate it here with our Prox Mobile 3 validator, which is already used in many cities in North America and Europe for contactless payments. And here the use case is that the passenger simply steps into the vehicle, they tap their card to the validator and they're done. And then there might be 10 other passengers coming behind them, and they all just tap their cards, and maybe if you don't have a credit on your card, it will be put on a deny list, and the next tap will not succeed anymore. But that's part of the specifications that MasterCard and Visa and the credit card brands have already defined. There are clear rules how to process all of that, so you don't need to invent anything new. You can just require transit payments according to their specifications, and it will work, and the vendors will know what to deliver. And that's a good thing, because that's what the customers need. They need globally the same user experience in transit, the fast and the secure and the hygienic way to pay in transit. And this is what the tap and go model can provide. Now, this specific model here, it's for city of Turku. We recently made a certification for them. They are also now accepting, in the upcoming weeks, they are starting the acceptance of Visa and MasterCard contactless payments here. And we also implemented for Turku, for mobile payments, a feature called Transit Express payment for Apple payments. I mean, they all accept, of course, the mobile versions as well. I mean, the mobile transactions, they are nothing else than EMV transactions as well. So devices don't necessarily even see the difference whether it's a mobile device or a physical card. But in certain cases, you still need to open the device and start to give your fingerprints, and it's not like the optimal use case when you need to board into the vehicle very quickly. So for Apple Wallet, we implemented a feature according to the Apple specifications that you can just step in the vehicle and present your card without any authentication, without opening your device, and you're good to go into the vehicle. And it works as quickly as a card payment, which I formerly always thought that that's the biggest benefit of the physical cards. I have always been speaking for the physical cards because it's so transparent and quick way to pay. You always know with what kind of account you are making the payment, and it never runs out of battery. It just works, and that's the availability and reliability that the physical cards provide. But with the mobile device providers adding that kind of features, we are again taking a step direction to the physical card user experience, which is that it always works, it's quick, it doesn't run out of battery, and you always know transparently with which account you are actually making the payment. So yeah, having said that, having presented the two different use cases in transit, in the vehicle, like I said, there are many more, but payments with the driver and the tap and go, with the INIT devices, we can provide these both use cases, and it depends on the region whether you need one or the other. There are no like clear rule. Maybe it depends on the fare structure. Sometimes the tap and go could not be possible because the fare structure is so complicated or otherwise just doesn't allow it. But of course, our request for the politic level here that make the fare structures work with the user experience that the customers need in the vehicle, because that will make public transport more attractive and efficient. So I'm now through presenting the two use cases, and if there are any questions on the online, I will then hand it back to Melanie. Oh, okay. So, thank you, everyone. I hope you learned something.